Hi, my name's Hannah and I'm from Yoga Course. In this class, we'll be flowing through poses to try and awaken the body, setting you up for the rest of the day. You won't need any props for this class, so no blocks, no bolsters, no nothing, just yourself and some space. So when you're ready, we'll get started. So we'll begin today in a seated position on the mat. We'll come into a cross-legged seat. This pose is called easy pose, and we're going to bring one foot just in front of the body with the other resting right in front of that. If this isn't comfortable, then you can always extend the legs out in front, but think about lengthening up through the spine, sitting nice and tall. Placing the hands onto the knees, begin to close down the eyes. We're just going to start by kind of guiding our awareness into the present moment. So as you close down the eyes, start to connect to your breath. Begin to notice your breaths just as they happen, resisting any urge to force or change your breath in any way. Instead, start to notice the natural rhythm of your breath. Feel the sensations as the breath fills the body, and the sensations as it leaves the body, trying to create a connection with your breath. When we come onto our yoga mat, we're taking time just for ourselves. So as we connect to the breath, we're bringing ourselves into the present moment. We're guiding our mind away from any distractions and just focusing on the here and the now. Now that we've created a bit of a connection with our breath, start to blink open the eyes. We're just going to take an inhale and reach the arms up to the sky. Think about creating some length through the spine. With your exhale, we're going to take our left hand to our right knee. We'll place our right hand just behind us on the mat. Stay nice and tall as you inhale. Think about lengthening up through the crown of the head. Then with your exhale, we're going to twist round towards the right side of the room. And the gaze can go over the right shoulder if that feels good. So even when we're holding poses in stationary, we still want to connect with our breath. So with every inhale, think about lifting up a little bit more, create some more length through your spine. And then with your exhale, you might deepen the twist, or maybe you start to soften. So think about softening areas like the shoulders, maybe even the jaw. And then we'll take just one more full breath here. Perfect. With your inhale, let's come all the way back round to center, reach the arms up to the sky, create that length. And then as you exhale, we'll take it straight over to the opposite side. So this time it will be right hand, left knee, left hand comes behind you. Again, inhale to create the length. And as you exhale, start to twist. Still focusing on your breath. Maybe even guiding your awareness to any internal sensations, so anything that you're feeling right now within your body. One more full breath here. Perfect. Let's release the twist. We're going to return to center, and then we'll start to make our way to a 4-point kneeling position on the mat. So we're going to come to hands and knees, just however you get there, however you find that shape. Think about spreading the fingers nice and wide, and just make sure that your shoulders are directly over your wrists with your hips directly over your knees. And we're going to move through a few rounds of cat and cow. So with your inhale, start to lower the belly down towards the mat as you lift the sit bones and the tailbone up towards the sky. As you do this, create space between your shoulders and your ears. Feel the gaze start to rise. Then with your exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone under, start to round through the spine as you press the ground away with the hands and tuck your chin in towards the chest. So we're moving between spinal flexion and spinal extension. Let's take that a few more times. As you inhale, lower the belly, lift the tailbone, raise the gaze. And then exhale to round through the spine. Perfect. 2 more just like that. Inhale, lower the belly, lift the tailbone. Exhale just to round. Perfect. 1 more of those. Lovely. Making your way back into that 4-point kneeling position. So just hands and knees. Think about tucking the tailbone under now. Start to tucking the toes under even. We're going to sit back on the heels of the feet, and then we'll start to lift the sit bones high up into the sky, coming into our first downward facing dog. So a triangle shape on the mat. Make sure that you're spreading those fingers wide, pressing your index finger and your thumb into the mat. And remember that this pose is more about creating length through the spine than it is through the legs. So if you need to bend the knees, then that's perfectly okay. As this is our first one, we're just going to start to wiggle into the pose. Maybe give a few bends with the knees, swaying the hips from side to side if that feels good. Just start to create space in your body. Tune into those sensations or any tension that you might be feeling and just start to work into those areas. And then we'll just start to find some stillness on the mat. Taking a nice deep bend in the knees, start to walk the feet all the way up towards the hands. We're coming to the top of our mat. And we'll find a deep forward fold here. So for this first one, soften the knees, take a hold of opposite elbow, and just start to have a sway from side to side. Let go of any tension in the neck. Keep this nice and passive. Lovely. Fabulous, well done. Releasing the hands, keeping that soft bend in the knees. Start to slowly roll up through the spine. So vertebrae by vertebrae, we're gonna come all the way up to standing on our mat. Lovely, and then when we make it here, we'll come to the top of the mat. We'll start in our mountain pose. So for mountain pose, you can bring the big toes to touch with a gap between the heels, or if you'd prefer to, take the feet a little bit wider at hip width apart. The arms come down beside us, palms facing forward, and we're lifting up through the crown of the head to create that length through our spine. Take a moment here just to really ground down through the feet as you create that length. Then with your next inhale, we're going to reach the arms up to the sky. This is our extended mountain. As you exhale, think about hinging from the hips as you fold forward over the legs. Reach down towards the mat. We'll come back into our fold. Remember, the knees can be soft here if that feels better. On your inhale, let's lengthen up through the spine halfway. So bring the hands onto shins or maybe onto thighs, whatever feels better. Crown of the head points forward as the tailbone reaches back. Then with your exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands down. We're going to step back with just our right leg. So think about stepping to the back of the mat. Drop that right knee down and untuck the toes. Check, make sure that your left knee is directly above the left ankle. And with an inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. We're coming into low lunge. So this pose works into stretching kind of the hip flexors and the hips. Don't forget to squeeze that navel towards the spine. We don't want to forget about the core in this posture. And then we'll take just one more full breath here. Fabulous. On your next exhale, bring the hands back down onto the mat, framing the left foot. Tuck the right toes under, lift the right knee away, and then we'll step the left foot back to meet our right foot. We're going to come into our first plank position. So shoulders are directly over the wrists here. And we're creating one long line of energy with the body. If it doesn't feel good for you today, you can always release the knees down onto the mat. But wherever you are, think about pressing down through the hands, rounding through the shoulders, feeling those shoulder blades start to separate. Perfect, well done. So let's work through a vinyasa. For this, we're going to take an inhale, shifting the weight forward. Bring the shoulders beyond the wrists, hips are still in line with the shoulders. Then on your exhale, bend the elbows, hug them into the side of the body as you lower down halfway. Pause here. Let's release all the way down onto the mat. Then tuck the toes, squeeze the glutes, and with an inhale, start to gently lift the chest, come up into your back bend. As you exhale, we'll make our way back into downward facing dog. Hips go high. Well done. With an inhale, let's step, jump, or walk to the top of the mat. And as we exhale, fold back over the legs, deep forward fold. On your inhale, lengthen up halfway, flat back. Think about drawing the shoulders away from the ears. And with your exhale, let's release back into our fold. Perfect. With an inhale, reach the arms up to the sky, come all the way up to standing. And as you exhale, we'll meet back in mountain pose. Fabulous, well done. We're going to take that on the opposite side. So again, grounding down through the feet as you lift up through the crown of the head. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky, soften the shoulders. Exhale, hinge from the hips, reach all the way down, deep forward fold. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands. This time step back with just your left leg. We'll come back into low lunge. Left knee drops down, untuck the toes. As you inhale, reach the arms up to the sky, sink those hips low. Every time we come into a pose, we want to make sure that we're finding areas of depth, areas of length, and areas of softness. So maybe lengthening up a little further through the crown of the head, maybe sinking the hips a little bit lower, and then find some softness through the shoulders. One more inhale. Exhale, frame the right foot with the hands. Perfect. Let's step back into plank. Left knee lifts, right foot meets the left. One long line of energy. As you inhale, shift the weight forward. On your exhale, bend the elbows, lower halfway, chaturanga, and then release all the way down. As you inhale, start to lift the chest, come up into your back bend, soften through the shoulders. And as you exhale, we're gonna meet back in downward facing dog. Perfect. Create length through the spine, soften through the knees if that feels a little bit better. Well done. As you inhale, step, jump, or walk to the top of the mat. On your exhale, we're gonna come back into our fold. This time around, let's use the index finger and middle finger around the big toes, creating a toe bind. You can bend the knees for this if that feels a little bit more comfortable. On our inhale, we're gonna think about lengthening up through the spine, creating that half lift, crown of the head points forward. With your exhale, gently pull down on the toes, draw the chest towards the thighs, deepening your fold. And we're gonna keep this flowing. So inhale to lengthen all the way back up. And then exhale to fold. Nice, 2 more here. Inhale, create that length. Exhale to release all the way back down. Final time, inhale, lengthen up. Exhale to fold. Perfect, well done. Releasing the toes, plant the hands down onto the mat. Step back with just your right leg. This time around, we're gonna pull up through the right knee, keeping our right leg strong, and then with an inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. So this time we're in a high lunge. We're sinking low into our left leg, keeping the right leg nice and lengthened. Hips are square in this pose, so think about pulling your right hip forward as you pull the left hip back. Squeeze the navel towards the spine. Wrap the triceps in. We want to broaden across the back as we open through the front of the chest. Then we'll take just one more inhale here. With your exhale, start to bend the elbows. Think about bringing them to shoulder height. As you do this, squeeze the shoulder blades together, open across the chest a little bit more. Again, we're going to keep it flowing, so inhale, reach all the way back up. With your exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades. One more here, inhale, reaching up. Exhale. Perfect. Take an inhale, reach the arms all the way back up to the sky. With your exhale, frame the left foot with the hands. We're gonna keep the hands on the mat. And as you inhale, start to lengthen through that left leg. Stay on the ball of your left foot. The fingertips can be on the mat here. You can take hands onto shins if that feels better. But we'll take another inhale just to create length through the spine first. And with your exhale, fold straight over that left leg. Good, we're gonna hold it here for a couple of breaths. So as you're here at this pose, start to notice how this feels. Notice where you feel the most tightness and the most tension. Start to breathe into those areas. One more full breath. Perfect. Shift the weight forward, bend back into your left knee, frame the left foot, hands go flat. And we'll step the left foot back to meet our right, coming back into our plank pose. Well done. Again, press down through the hands, keep this plank nice and strong. Then with your inhale, shift the weight forward, and as you exhale, bend the elbows, making sure to hover at that halfway point. Squeeze the elbows in. Release all the way down onto the mat. Untuck the toes, inhale, lift the chest, come up into your back bend, your cobra pose. And with your exhale, let's meet back in downward facing dog. Lovely, well done. As you inhale, step, jump, or walk to the top of the mat. With your exhale, let's fold back over the legs. Lovely. Take an inhale, create length, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, step back with just the left leg this time. Same again, we're gonna pull up through the left knee, keep that left leg strong. Sink low into your right leg as you inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. We're back in our high lunge. You might start to notice some differences from side to side, and that's perfectly normal. We tend to have a more dominant side, so if something doesn't feel quite the same as it did on the previous side, that's perfectly okay. Listen to your body. Treat each side as a brand new pose. One more inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades together, open across the chest. You've got 2 more just like that. Inhale to reach all the way back up. Exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades. Final time here. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale. Lovely. Take an inhale, reach the arms back up to the sky. Exhale, frame the right foot with the hands. Same as before. We're going to stay on the ball of our left foot as we start to lengthen through our right leg. You've got those different arm options. Hands can stay flat. We can come up onto the fingertips. Maybe hands onto shins if that feels a little bit better. Either way, we'll take an inhale first of all just to prepare. And then as you exhale, fold over that right leg. Press down through the right big toe. Try and keep the hips square here. So sometimes they can shift over to one side. Think about bringing them slightly over to the left. One more inhale. One more exhale. Fabulous, lovely. Start to bend back into your right knee, frame the right foot. And we're gonna step all the way back into our plank. Perfect, you're doing amazing. Stay with me. Press down through the hands. Tuck the tailbone under, squeeze the navel towards the spine. This time we're gonna hold it here, so keep focusing on your breath. This is one of those poses that before we even come into it, we tend to have kind of negative thoughts about it. So rather than thinking of those negative thoughts, connect to your breath. The sensations that you're feeling right now, they're only temporary. All of this will change. We're not going to be in this pose forever. 3 more breaths here. Keep pressing down through the hands. 2 more breaths, almost there. Take 1 more full breath. Perfect, well done. As you inhale, shift the weight forward, bring the shoulders beyond the wrists. Exhale, bend the elbows, hover halfway. Then release down. Lovely. Inhale, lift the chest. Come up into your back bend. This time as you exhale, we'll lift up onto the knees. Send the weight back towards the heels as we release the forehead down onto the mat. Come into your child's pose. So this is a place of rest. In this pose, you can take the knees as wide as the mat with the toes meeting at the back. But if you'd prefer to, bring the knees together, whatever feels best. Extend the arms out in front, create length through the side of the body. And just allow your forehead to rest flat on the mat. Take a couple of breaths here. Maybe start to notice how your body feels a little bit different to when you first came on the mat. Notice those difference or the difference in sensations. Feel all that energy swelling around the body, everything that you created. Lovely. 1 more full breath here. Nice. Start to shift the weight forward. We're going to bring the shoulders directly over the wrists and we'll weight back in 4-point kneeling, so that tabletop position. Coming into our next pose, which is puppy pose, think about keeping the hips directly above the knees. We're going to start to walk the hands forward as we lower the chest down towards the mat. So this is quite a deep shoulder opening pose. We've also got a little bit of back bending here as well. If this doesn't feel good, you can always bend the elbows, placing one forearm on top of the other. That should feel a little bit better. Good, so you could be feeling this in lots of different places. Maybe in the shoulders, maybe in the tops of the arms, the side of the body, through the spine. Maybe even into the neck. We're just going to hold it here for 2 more breaths. 1 last full breath. Nice. Walking the hands back up into 4-point kneeling. Start to allow one hip to release down onto the mat as you swing the legs around to the front of the room. We're coming to a seated position on the mat now. So legs are extended out in front. If it does feel more comfortable to sit on something and elevate the hips, then of course you can. But we want to make sure that we're lengthening up through the spine. We always want to create length rather than rounding, just so that we're avoiding injury in our lower back. So creating length, flexing the feet, sitting nice and tall. With your next inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. On your exhale, we're going to fold forward over the legs. So again, hinging from the hips. As you do this, keep looking forward. Keep reaching forward. And when you get to a place that feels good, you can start to soften. So hands can be on the mat, either side of your legs, maybe on top of, just wherever feels most comfortable. Make sure those feet are still flexed. This protects the back of the knees, but it also lengthens the back of the legs a little bit more so you get a slightly deeper stretch. And then again, we're going to hold it here, but we're still using our breath. With every inhale, find a little bit more length. With every exhale, soften into the pose a little bit more. Just 3 more breaths here. Fabulous, well done. Slowly making your way all the way back up to seated. Think about bringing the soles of the feet together on the mat now. So I'm just going to turn to face you. Soles of the feet come together. We're going to bring the hands either around the toes or the ankles, whatever feels most comfortable. And the knees are falling out either side of the body. So same again. We're going to take an inhale. Just start to lengthen up through the spine. With your exhale, folding straight through the middle, hinging from the hips, creating a stretch into the hips. In this pose, you can stay exactly where you are, but if you do want a little bit more, we're going to take the elbows just to the top of the legs and apply a little bit of gentle pressure. And this is going to help to open up the hips a tiny bit more, but whatever feels best. And again, we'll hold it here for 3 breaths. Every inhale creates some more length. And with every exhale, maybe sink into that space that you've created. 2 more breaths. Just 1 more full breath. Fabulous. Come all the way back up to seated. Bring the knees together, start to extend the legs back out in front, and then just make sure that you're at the top of your mat now. So the heels are at the top edge. We're going to reach the arms out in front and we'll start to make our way down onto our backs. So for this, we'll begin to slowly roll down through the spine, nice and slowly with control. Vertebrae by vertebrae. We're going to come all the way down onto our backs. That's it. Bring the knees in towards the chest. Wrapping the arms around the shins, maybe take a bit of a gentle rock from side to side. Just feel the spine start to be massaged into the mat. Lovely. Hug the right knee into the chest. Extend the left leg out onto the mat. We're going to come into a twist. So using your left hand, start to guide the right knee across the body and over to the left side of the room. As you do this, you can begin to reach the right arm out to the right side of the room and maybe even take the gaze over your right shoulder if that feels good. Try and keep your right shoulder grounded on the mat here. So with the same intention that you're guiding your right knee towards the left side of the room, ground your right shoulder towards the earth. So you're really opening across the chest, feeling that rotation through the spine. 1 more full breath. Fabulous. Guiding your right knee back up to center, hug both knees back into the chest. Give them a quick squeeze. Lovely. Opposite side. So left knee comes into the chest now. Right leg extends out. We're going to guide our left knee over to the right side of the room as we reach our left arm out to the left, coming back into that spinal twist. Perfect. 2 more breaths. 1 last full breath. Lovely. Bringing the left knee back to center. Hug both knees back into the chest. 1 last quick squeeze. And then releasing the knees, start to extend both legs out onto the mat. We're going to finish in Shavasana, our final resting pose. So both hands come down beside the body, palms facing up. We're just going to soften the gaze, maybe even closing down the eyes. Start to feel a release onto the mat. Completely let go. Feel your body start to become heavy, sinking into the mat beneath you. And then start to find a place of stillness. Our final meditation is often considered the most important part of our practice. It offers us time for our body to download everything that we did physically, but also mentally. So with that being said, as we let our body download, let's spend these last few moments just to thank our body. Be proud of our body. And honor our body. You can stay in this pose for as long as you need. But just before we finish, I'm going to repeat a little mantra. Loka samosta sukhino bhavantu. May all the people of the earth be happy and free. Namaste.